Hey kids, how was school today? I hope school was good. I cannot wait to hear all about the stories you guys learn about. I cannot wait to hear what kind of stories they told you about. And I cannot wait till you guys start asking me questions. School was interesting. We read this book named Americana by Chimanada Ngozi Adichie. It caught my attention and it made me wonder, why do we tell stories? I've heard of that book. It is an interesting story about a woman who comes from Nigeria to study in America. Who cares about stories? Why do stories even matter? Mom, why do we tell stories? Well, son, stories are important for a variety of reasons. You see, kids, stories are important because they allow us to express our life experiences. Oh, I know. Like in the book Americana, it shares the story of Ifemulu, a Nigerian woman who goes to America to study. It gives an insight of Ifemulu's life experiences and what situations she comes across in America. It's a great example. Not only is Americana an example of Ifemulu's life story, but it also gives an example of current issues in America. It gives different experiences that she goes through. One of the experiences that Ifemelu shares is having her hair relaxed in America. That's something that she is not used to in Nigeria. Her aunt tells her that having her hair relaxed will make her look more professional in her interview, and that natural hair is not really looked as professional in America. Max, stories are important because they allow us to share experiences of lessons we have learned. How can we learn lessons through stories? Well, brother, one example would be the lessons learned in the picture of Dorian Gray. We learn through our stories by asking ourselves, what has this experience taught me? Like in the picture of Dorian Gray, the character of Dorian changes throughout the story. His values and morals go from pure to rotten, and it shows within his portrait how he's changed. Yes, Carol, Dorian was influenced by Lord Henry to make poor choices, and eventually it started reflecting his own portrait. A lesson I think we can all learn in Dorian's experience is to not be influenced by others in a negative way, but learn to surround ourselves with a positive influence. Maybe that's why Grandma's always telling us about her stories, about her life experiences. Grandma shares her life experiences through her stories, and it creates a great imagination. The book, The Encyclopedia of Early Earth, uses pictures to help us visualize the different experiences that the characters have. If it wasn't for pictures, we wouldn't know how to have imagination. Because we have this imagination, we can visualize the experiences that these characters have. This book also shares two characters who have a great imagination. When we look at the pictures, we see that Kid and Kiddo create two different worlds, one with different species and one with humans. This helps us imagine their experience of creating two different worlds. Grandma shares her life experiences through her stories. Not only does she enjoy sharing her life experiences to her children and her grandchildren, but she also enjoys that these stories can be passed on from generation to generation. That is true, Mom. A perfect example is the Encyclopedia of Early Earth. This book shares a story about an old lady, the grandmother who defeats the great old monster. This helps us understand how stories can be passed on from one generation to another one. The grandmother's story of the way she defeated the monster is passed on from generation to generation. This story, inside the Encyclopedia of Early Earth, is passed on from different characters, and it eventually goes throughout the end, and a lot of people hear from it. Okay, now I understand why we tell stories. We tell stories because they allow us to express our life experiences, and through these stories, we learn lessons. It helps us have an imagination, and it also helps pass on these stories from generation to generation. Max, I'm glad you understand why we tell stories. Stories allow us to express our life experiences. And now, I'm ready to share one of my own life experiences. You guys are ready? Yes, please, Mom. We're ready to hear another story. Yay!
created using Powtoon.